Lena had never believed in ghosts. She was a journalist, a woman of logic and reason. So when she was assigned to cover the story of Ravenwood Manor, the infamous house where people had disappeared without a trace, she accepted without hesitation. The manor stood deep in the woods, shrouded in a permanent mist. The townsfolk warned her not to go. They whispered of an unseen force, of shadows that moved when no one was looking. But Lena laughed it off. She arrived just before dusk, camera in hand, recording every eerie detail. The house was ancient, its walls covered in ivy, its windows cracked and hollow like empty eyes. As she stepped inside, the door creaked and slammed shut behind her. Lena's breath caught in her throat. She shook off the unease and moved forward. Dust clung to the air, and the floorboards groaned beneath her steps. She explored room after room, finding only old furniture, broken mirrors, and tattered curtains. But then, she heard it. A whisper. It was soft, almost like the wind, but the air was still. Lena turned, scanning the room. Nothing. She continued, pushing deeper into the house. The whispers grew louder, forming words she couldn't understand. Her heartbeat quickened. She entered a large room, a study, filled with decayed books and an old wooden desk. On it lay a single object, a black and white photograph. She picked it up. Her blood turned to ice. The photo showed a group of people, all staring at the camera with hollow, sunken eyes. They were dressed in old-fashioned clothes, their faces eerily blurred. But at the edge of the photo, just barely visible, was her. Lena gasped, nearly dropping the picture. It was impossible. This was an old photo, decades old. How was she in it? A sharp creak made her whirl around. The study door was closing, on its own. She rushed forward, grabbing the handle, but it wouldn't budge. The whispers surrounded her now, swirling, growing into low, guttural voices. Then she saw it, the shadows in the corner. They were moving, stretching, taking shape. A figure emerged. Its limbs were unnaturally long, its face obscured in darkness. But its eyes, they burned with something ancient. Lena, it rasped. She stumbled backward, her mind screaming. How did it know her name? The creature moved closer. She felt the air grow thick, suffocating. Her vision blurred. Then, suddenly, she heard another voice, clear, desperate. Run! Lena didn't think. She bolted, slamming into the door with all her strength. It burst open. She ran down the hallway, the whispers turning into furious shrieks. The house trembled. Shadows lunged from the walls, reaching for her. She didn't stop. She reached the front door, yanked it open, and plunged into the night. Cold air hit her like a wave. She ran to her car, shaking, gasping. She looked back once. The house stood silent, its windows dark. But in one of them, she saw movement, figures watching her. She fumbled with her keys, started the car, and sped away. Lena never wrote the article. She never spoke of Ravenwood Manor again. But sometimes, in the dead of night, she swore she could still hear the whispers calling her name.